kunjavihari jaya radha madhava kunjavihari mukti janavallabha giridharadhari jaya gopi janavallabha Yashodanandana Prajanandana Yashodanandana Yamuna Tira Hare
His Divine Grace is Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki ISKCON Samstha से the whole world Guru Shri Prabhupada ki Srimad Bhagavatam ki Nitai Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, entitled The Cosmic Manifestation. Chapter 9, answers by citing the Lord's version. Text 34. Rte artham yat pratīyeta Rte rthaṁ yat pratīyeta Na pratīyeta cātmani Na pratīyeta cātmani Tad vidyād ātmano māyām Tad vidyād ātmano māyām yathā ābhāso yathā tamaḥ pratīyeta cātmani tad vidyād ātmano māyām yathābhāso yathā tamaḥ rthaṁ pratīyeta pratīyeta cātmani tad vidyād māyām yathābhāso yathā tamaḥ rthaṁ pratīyeta pratīyeta cātmani tad vidyād māyām yathābhāso yathā tamaḥ rthaṁ pratīyeta pratīyeta cātmani tad vidyād māyām yathābhāso yathā tamaḥ rthaṁ pratīyeta pratīyeta cātmani tad vidyād māyām yathābhāso yathā tamaḥ rthaṁ without artham value yet that which pratīyeta appears to be not pratīyeta appears to be cha and ātmani in relation to me that vidyāt you must know ātmanaḥ māyām illusory energy yathā just as ābhāsaḥ the reflection yathā as tamaḥ the darkness. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhu. O Brahma, whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relation to me, has no reality. Knowing as my illusory energy that reflection which appears to be in darkness. Please repeat this translation. O Brahma, whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relation to me, has no reality. Know it as my illusory energy, that reflection which appears to be in darkness. Continue to read the last portion. There is one Supreme Person who is the progenitor of this cosmic manifestation and whose energy acts as prakriti or the material nature, dazzling like a reflection. By such illusory action of prakriti, even dead matter is caused to move by the cooperation of living energy of the Lord, and the material world appears like a dramatic performance to the ignorant eyes. The ignorant person, therefore, may even be a scientist or physiologist in the drama of Prakriti, while the same person knows Prakriti as the illusory energy of the Lord. By such a conclusion, as confirmed by the Bhagavad Gita, it is clear that the living entities are also a display of the Lord's superior energy, para Prakriti, just as the material world is a display of the Lord's inferior energy, para Prakriti. This superior energy of the Lord cannot be as good as the Lord, although there is very little difference between the energy and the possessor of the energy, or the fire and the heat. Fire is possessed of heat, but heat is not fire. This simple thing is not understood by the man with a poor fund of knowledge, who falsely claims that the fire and heat are the same. This energy of the fire, namely heat, is explained here as a reflection and not directly fire. Therefore, the living energy represented by the living entities is the reflection of the Lord and never the Lord himself. Being the reflection of the Lord, the existence of the living entity is dependent on the Supreme Lord, who is the original light. This material energy may be compared to darkness, as actually it is darkness. And the activities of the living entities in the darkness are reflections of the original light. The Lord should be understood by the context of this verse. Non-dependence of both the energies of the Lord is explained as māyām or illusion. No one can make a solution of the darkness of ignorance simply by the reflection of light. Similarly, no one can come out of the material existence simply by the reflected light of the common man. One has to receive the light from the original light itself. The reflection of sunlight in the darkness is unable to drive out the darkness. But the sunlight outside the reflection can drive out the darkness completely. In darkness, no one can see the things in a room. Therefore, a person in the dark is afraid of snakes and scorpions, although there may not be such things. But in the light, the things in the room can be clearly seen, and the fear of snakes and scorpions is at once removed. Therefore, one has to take shelter of the light of the Lord, as in the Bhagavad Gita or the Srimad bhagavatam, and not the reflective personalities who have no touch with the Lord. No one should hear Bhagavad Gita or Srimad bhagavatam from a person who does not believe in the existence of the Lord. Such a person is already doomed, and any association with such a doomed person makes the associator also doomed. According to the Padma Purana, within the material compass, there are innumerable material universes, and all of them are full of darkness. Any living being, beginning from the Brahmas, there are innumerable Brahmas in innumerable universes, to the insignificant ant, are all born in darkness, and they require factual light from the Lord to see Him directly. Just as the sun can be seen only by the direct rays of the sun. No lamp or man-made torchlight, however powerful it may be, can help one see the sun. The sun reveals itself. Therefore, the action of different energies of the Lord or the personality of God in Himself can be realized by the light manifested by the causeless mercy of the Lord. The impersonalists say that God cannot be seen. God can be seen by the light of God and not by man-made speculations. Here, this light is specifically mentioned as vidyād, which is an order by the Lord to Brahmā. This direct order of the Lord is a manifestation of His internal energy, and this particular energy is the means of seeing the Lord face to face. Not only Brahmā, but anyone who will be graced by the Lord to see such merciful direct internal energy can also realize the personality of Godhead without any mental speculation. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namah Vishnu-padaya Krishna-preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesham Shunyavadi Paschatya-deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Srivasadi Gaurabhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. This This is the second verse of the 4 verses called the Chatushloki Bhagavatam. The entire Srimad Bhagavatam is summarized in these 4 verses. That is, 2nd canto, 9th chapter, verse numbers 33, 34, 35 and 36. The Srimad Bhagavatam actually was originally spoken by the Supreme Lord to Brahma in these 4 verses. This was spoken at the beginning of the creation when Brahma was born and he wanted to know his position. He wanted to know what is he supposed to do. So he was instructed by the Supreme Lord, who is the source of birth for Brahma and everyone else. The Lord instructed Brahma in this most important point, that ultimate truth is the Supreme Person. Even though so many different philosophers study the various Vedic literature, they are unable to understand who is God or what is the ultimate reality. The reason is that this material world which is created appears to be independent of any person. Even though there are so many persons in this world, all the persons of this world are temporarily existing as persons. Even though each one of us is spirit soul, our existence as the persons with a material body is temporary. So this temporary existence, beyond which there is something else, that is what people try to find out. What is that beyond this temporary existence? Now when they try to search out beyond this body, beyond all the temporary nature, what is there as reality, as the background, then people are unable to find any person. Because even Brahma, the topmost devata, the topmost demigod, the topmost person among the created persons of this world, is going to die at the time of destruction of this entire universe. So when Brahma dies and everything is destroyed, what remains is the question one should ask. And that question is already answered in the Vedic literature. Before the creation, the Supreme Lord was there. He remains after everything is destroyed, and He exists in His original form, in His original position, even when this creation is maintained. So that is being explained here, that even though this world appears like there is no connection between everything in this world and that Supreme Lord. It appears like that, there's no connection. But factually, this world is very much connected with the Supreme Lord through His control over what is called as the illusory energy. That illusory energy is being described in this verse. Rthaṁ yat pratīyeta. Whatever appears to be of value. Artham means value. Pratīyeta means what appears. Whatever appears to be of value, one should know is always in relation to that Supreme Lord, Supreme Person, God. And if something appears like it has value but no relationship with the Supreme Lord, then that is exactly what is called as illusory energy. There are so many things which we have experienced is created. Our body or so many other things apart from our body are all created. All these may appear to be of value, but factually, because they are all temporary, they don't have any value. Anything which is temporary, which is going to be destroyed, actually has no value. But if it appears like presently it has got some value, just like we got this material body, even though this body is temporary, we still have to maintain the body. And for the maintenance of this body, we use so many things. Even though this body is temporary, and whatever we may use for maintenance of the body is also temporary, still we have got some value for those things which we use for our maintenance. We cannot reject all those things which are used for our maintenance as temporary because they will be destroyed. We can't simply reject them. So anything which, even though temporary, appears to be of value, it is only because it is a reflection of the Supreme Lord's energy, called the illusory energy. The Lord has got in this world two kinds of energy. This is explained in the Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter. Apareyam itastu anyam prakritim vidhi me param jiva bhutam mahabāho yayedam dharayate. There is one inferior energy which is called apara prakriti. It is a nature, inferior nature, apara prakriti, which consists of the material elements. Bhumirapo nalo vayu khammano buddhire vacha ahankara itiyam me bhinna prakriti rashtadha. Bhinna prakriti means separated energy. These 8 elements of which everything is constituted, everything material is constituted. These 8 elements are the separated energy of Krishna. Separated means if we try to search out the connection or the relationship between this energy and Krishna, we cannot find any connection. We cannot find any connection. We cannot find any relationship. Therefore, Krishna describes it is his separated energy. Prabhupada gives a very nice example to help us understand this separated energy. Now, when somebody is speaking, let's say Prabhupada is speaking, giving a lecture, then devotees record his lecture. Those days they used to record on cassette tape. Now, the voice of Srila Prabhupada, when it is recorded on the tape, after the lecture is over, you take the tape, you take it home, and you play the tape and you can hear Prabhupada's voice exactly as he was speaking. Now, the tape which contains a recording of Prabhupada's voice, now in that tape, if you try to search out for the speaker, you cannot find the speaker. But the voice is there. The voice is there. You can hear the voice. But where is the person? Person is not there. So, the person is separated, or the voice, I would say the voice is separated from the person. Even though the voice is there on the tape, the person's voice is there, his voice, it is his voice. But the person is not there. It is separated from the person. So you can say that that voice on the tape is the separated energy of the person. But when he is speaking, it is his energy. It is his personal energy. Prabhupada would have exerted his voice box and spoken. But after he has spoken, when it is recorded on the tape, that voice that is there as a recording and can be reproduced is actually his separated energy. Similarly, at the beginning of the creation, Krishna glances over his material energy. He glances over his material energy, and out of that material energy, being agitated by his glance, the 8 elements are coming forth, are generated. And then those 8 elements are strewn into this universe. And by the action of this illusory energy, those 8 elements are combined differently, in different proportions, in different quantities, in different ways, and so many varieties come into existence. Now, after these varieties have come into existence, if you try to search out how were these created, you can only see or trace out that the elements, they are combined by the action of nature. So nature is the cause of this variety, and nature has used the elements to create the variety. So nature is the cause, and what is created also exists in nature. Nature is also the effect. Nature is the cause, nature is the effect. Just like you take one seed of a mango tree. You plant that seed, and from that seed, with the help of the soil and water and sunshine and all that, another mango tree will grow. Now that mango tree will have so many fruits in course of time, and each fruit will have a seed. Now if you look at that seed, potentially that seed is another tree, right? Now where is the seed which is potentially another tree coming from? Is coming from the seed. Now that seed, where did it come from? The tree. The tree, where did it come from? The seed. So where do you trace the beginning of this tree and the seed? So this is where the scientists, the philosophers, all of them go around in cycle, in circles. They are unable to ascertain that what came first? What is there in the beginning? Whether it is a tree or the seed. The proverbial chicken and egg problem that all the scientists and the philosophers have. Whether the chicken came first or the egg came first. Now, if you refer the confidential portions of the scriptures, the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, and such Vedanta Sutra, such literature, clearly it is stated that in the beginning there was no tree, there was no seed, there was no chicken, there was no egg. There was nothing except the Supreme Lord with His energy, which was lying dormant, inactive. So He activated this energy at the beginning of creation. He set into action that energy called the illusory energy. And by His activating the energy, everything was set into action. The energy itself became activated as the three gunas. And the energy also differentiated into the 8 elements. So both the gunas, the active portion of material nature, and the ingredients for the entire creation, earth, water, fire, air, sky, intelligence, mind, ego, everything, the ingredients, both were a product of the Lord glancing over His own material energy, illusory energy. So this you cannot study now and find out after the creation. After it has taken place, you cannot study and find out this. Because after it has been set in action or motion, the Lord remains in the background unseen. He remains in the background completely unseen. Neither you can even perceive His presence nor His action nor His influence. Nothing can perceive. You cannot see. But that does not mean the Lord doesn't exist or He has got no role to play. He is very much there. He is directing. He is present. Then if you have to see Him, if you have to understand His role specifically, then there is a process for that. There is a method. That is bhakti. Only by bhakti you can see the Lord in this world. You can see the Lord, His presence. You can understand His role in this entire material nature only by bhakti. That which is unseen, that which is not understood or not perceived or not realized by any other method other than bhakti, you can see, anyone can see by bhakti. So here in the Bhagavatam, the knowledge is first given. The knowledge is given that yes, before the creation there was the Lord. The Lord remains even during the existence of this entire material world. He continues to remain even after everything is destroyed. And He is present as Paramatma, Super Soul. He is present as Paramatma of the entire material energy as Mahavishnu. He is present as Paramatma of this universe as another Vishnu, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. And He is present as Paramatma in the heart of every living being as Kshirodaka Shayi Vishnu, as the third Vishnu form. So there are three Vishnus. All three are present in this world, are present as the soul, Atma, of the material energy, of the universe, and of every living entity. So, if you want to see this Paramatma, it is only possible to see him by bhakti. And there is no other way. So, when they try to avoid this method of bhakti, the process of bhakti, then they are unable to find him. They cannot see him. They cannot find out. Then they come to so many different conclusions. The materialists, they are simply concerning themselves with gross matter, and therefore they are unable to see God. In gross matter you cannot find God. Those who are yogis, they go into subtle matter, and they even learn to manipulate the subtle matter by acquiring what is called a siddhi. Siddhi means a material power which one can use to manipulate matter, gross matter, through subtle energy. Just like the yogis can travel without the help of a machine, using the siddhi, material perfection, one type of material perfection. They can utilize a ray of sunshine to travel from one place to another. Because the sun is in the center of the universe, the sun is illuminating all the planets. So if somebody wants to go, a yogi wants to go from the earth planet, let us say to the moon planet, the yogi can take help of one sun ray from the earth to the sun, and from the sun another sun ray he can use to go to the moon. So in this way yogi can travel. So yogi can manipulate matter using subtle power. But even in that subtle material energy, the yogi searches for God, searches for any person, any cause, he cannot find. Then beyond this gross and subtle matter, there are persons who find out, oh, there is Atma, there is soul. The living energy, life energy is beyond gross and subtle matter. So they search out for God among the souls in the living energy. There also they cannot find God. There also they cannot find God. They can't find any person. You can't find person in gross matter, in subtle matter, in spiritual energy, living energy, life force. You cannot find. So where is God? Does he exist? The answer is yes. He is beyond all these energies, all this matter and spirit. He is the ultimate source of both matter and spirit. So the Mayavadi philosophers, they can figure out there is something called soul or spirit or living energy. But they conclude that because they cannot find God in this living energy also, they conclude this living energy itself is ultimately God. Just like scientists, they have discovered so much of power in that atom, atomic energy. So they think that atomic energy is the ultimate source of all energy. That's what they think. Or the yogis, they think that this subtle energy which they manipulate for their siddhis, that they think is ultimate source of all energy. Or the Mayavadis, they think that the soul itself is God. But all of them are wrong. The soul cannot be God because the soul is under superior control. Everybody from Brahma, the topmost living being in this entire creation, down to the insignificant ant, everyone is controlled. The very fact that we got a material body means we are controlled. Because material body has so many limitations. Material body forces us to die. So therefore we are controlled. If we are controlled, then we are not God. Very simple. So the Mayavadis, they circumvent this argument by telling, oh, now we are not God, but we become God. When we overcome death, we become God. Now, in the first place, how did you come to this position where you have to die? That's the question we should ask. Not that if I overcome death, I become God. You forget about overcoming death and becoming God. How did you come to this position of having to die in the first place? So therefore, even if a person may try to overcome death and try to become God, this becoming God business means he is not God. That's all. He may try, but he will never be able to become God because it's not God. So God is beyond this creation, maintenance, destruction. God is beyond gross matter, subtle matter. God is beyond spirit, soul, beyond living energy. God is completely apart from all this. And He is the supreme Lord, supreme controller, supreme person, supreme source. And that is being described in the Vedanta Sutra. Janma. He is being described in this Bhagavatam 4 verses. He is telling, my illusory energy appears to be independent, appears to be separated, appears to act wonderfully, but actually it is my energy. So that is being explained in this 34th verse, or the second of the Chatushloki Bhagavata verses. Stop it. Uttara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Stoka ki.